I don't think it's difficult to be a serious hockey player. Just because you do something a lot does not mean you're invested in it. Our family spent over $110,000 in a 3-year period, and I could have paid higher quality coaches instead of just spending 6 hours a day on the ice so that they'd pay more attention to me. Instead, I wasted my fucking time being a serious hockey player. I was so serious about it that I lost out on my potential. It doesn't make sense to mindlessly grind. But no, I wanted to do it all myself because I was so serious. I was so dedicated that I popped out my hip flexor. Oh, I can't play because my groin hurts. I can't skate as fast because my hips hurt. I want to play through the injury and forfeit my future chances of actually making pro hockey. Like, what the fuck is this mindset? Enough of the hockey-specific bullshit. That doesn't work because I did that. And it didn't get me there. It wasn't until my family put down tens of thousands of dollars into my hockey development that I started to see results. How's it going, everyone? This is Mason Hackle, Hackle Hockey Hacks, or Hackle Hockey Training. I've been studying the best athletes in the world in addition to the best hockey players in the world, and I'm here to share that knowledge with you, which is why I do what I do. So, the article I wrote this week, and even some videos that I made too, were around don't be a serious hockey player. I think there's an important distinction to make between doing something that you do a lot and also investing your time, energy, attention, and I'm going to include money here. If you don't fill those 4 things, you are not a true investor, and I don't think enough hockey players fill those 4 things. I think they fill 3 of those categories, but they don't fill the 4th one. So I'm just going to start reading the article. And for those of you just coming on for the first time, I like to make podcasts in addition to having an accompanying article just so it allows me to stay on track a lot better. And plus you get the audio version of the article. So it basically hits 2 birds with 1 stone. Don't be a serious hockey player. Instead, invest in your long-term development. Can you get better faster with 2 hours a week of hockey-specific work? I think it's unproductive for your training to be on the ice for over 3 hours of practice time. That's a controversial take, considering you always hear these stories of the best players practicing for over 6 hours every day. But is it really controversial? If you are listening to this, you are probably not one of those best players. So the question is, how much do you copy from what the best players do? Or how much do you copy from what you hear the best players doing? Much like you would not copy Chad Ochocinco's McDonald's diet, supposedly, to get lean and shredded, maybe it's not best for you. Maybe it's not most productive for you to train 6 hours a day like what is rumored these top 1% players did. And I want to emphasize that it's rumored. Like, do you actually know for certain that these players practiced as much as they did? Even if you were a coach listening to this, do you know for certain? Did you act like a spotlight on these players for 24 hours a day, 7 days a week? Or did you only see them for 45 to 60-minute training blocks, maybe 2 to 3 times per week? In all likelihood, what I'm getting at is that you were not a spotlight on these players for their entire lives up to the point of them making the highest levels of hockey. So you have no idea what they did, how much they practiced, and how they learned what they do. And I think I want to add a point that I did not mention. I'm blanking on it at the moment. About if we circle back to how much do we copy from the best players, that is a central theme around the rest of this topic as well. So let's say the best players did practice 6 hours a day for 7 days a week or so. Okay, is that how they actually got there? Or did they happen to learn other things that made them get there? And I bring this up because I tried that for a long time, for a period of 3 months or so. And I mentioned this later on in the article as well, that when I did that, I actually ended up hurting myself. I ended up hurting my hips from all these overtraining injuries and not taking care of my body instead of and sacrificing taking care of my body for more ice time, which was not smart. That is not investing in your long-term development. That is just being out on the ice just for the sake of being out on the ice. And I don't mind saying that to my former self now, because that is the truth. I was not investing into training. I was instead, fucking around, as they call. And if you're a player in that same position, this is what we'll get on later on in the article as well. There are plenty of better ways of training, more productive ways of training than just staying on the ice for 6 hours at a time, almost doing nothing. You are still going to do something in those 6 hours, but is it productive? Like, what did you get out of it? Aside from maybe procrastinating, like everything else that you could be doing in life. Because if you're not the top 1% player, if you're not a top 1% player, you have to do something different to get to the highest levels. You can't do what everyone else is doing. These best players will say that they did the same things that everyone else did. In actuality, they didn't, because they learned something different. They just don't know how to articulate it. Now back to the article. Yes, it is possible to get better faster while being on the ice for less than 6 hours a day. Yes, it is possible to get better faster while training on the ice for only 2 hours a week. There is a difference between being on the ice for a long time and training strategically. I have done both, like I just mentioned. And in here, I give my current example for my current situation. As I am not currently playing and doing coaching instead and training instead, I am only doing a maximum of 2 hours a week of hockey mechanics training, 1 hour for 2 days. I make sure I get the most out of my training. So I set a 10-minute timer, and every minute on the minute, I perform my sets of specific exercises, /drills, /mechanics. This allows me to get my mechanics better, but the shortened time frame allows me to get conditioning benefits I would not otherwise get. I still take out my tripod and iPad, looking back at my own footage in the limited rest I've given myself. So with this methodology as a whole, in one training session, I am getting about 50 to 200 reps of every movement I train, obviously depending on the exercise selection, in their respective 10-minute time frame. I am actually getting a workout with the limited rest time, and I'm still using video feedback to compare my footage during my rest times. Again, this only takes 10 minutes, so I have the other 50 minutes to do more. And I do the same thing for the 5 other drills. That adds up to 6 drills total in 60 minutes. And I am loving this method of training, and I think it's great for individual players. It's a go-to for anyone training on their own. And you add this with your recovery, and you are set to make quicker gains than everyone else. Your brain actually learns best through sleep and recovery. That is why I have preached that recovery is your training, and plenty of studies back up this statement. And I have seen this to be true in myself. When I have gotten great sleep, my workouts have felt better, my metabolism is more manageable, and I can learn new skills like hockey mechanics much quicker. You have to give your central nervous system some rest. That is the same driver of lifting heavy weights. If your CNS is fried, you won't lift your strongest weight. You need the appropriate recovery. The CNS is also used in any intense activity, hockey games, or even hockey training, which is actually a determining factor in you having energy or not. Your central nervous system is a determining factor in if you have energy or not. So if you've ever felt lousy, needing rest, or if you're wondering why your energy is so low, and maybe you did not let your CNS recover appropriately. It actually takes 6 times longer for your central nervous system to recover compared to your muscles. That is why when you work to get the best sprinting times and work to lift the most weight on the bar, you have to rest for upwards of 3 to 5 minutes between sets. You allow for full recovery in this case. This is the game of strength. When you shoot for your best times or your best weights, make sure your central nervous system is appropriately recovered. But there are still some skills you could practice daily. I think juggling is an example of this. Stick handling is in the same category, I believe, because both don't tax the nervous system to the same degree that skating or lifting heavy weights or sprinting would do. These are great to do daily. It's like riding every day too. Like that's something you do. It's like reading every day too. Like that, I've improved my reading greatly because it doesn't tax my nervous system, and I just read a little bit more every single day. I was terrible at reading. I couldn't read for more than 10 minutes at a time for 20 years. And in the past 2 days before I recorded this specifically, that was the first time I've ever read 100 pages in one sitting. It took me about 45 minutes to complete. Granted, different books have different lengths and different sizes of text. But compared to where I was before, that's a massive change. And I did this without audiobooks. I would have to listen to an audiobook before, synchronized with the book I was reading. And now I'm not doing that. At least I'm not doing that as much. I will still do it for certain books that I want to do it for. That's the other thing too, with a specific skill like reading. Read what you want. Read what you want to know. That will make you read better. Write what you want to write about. That will make you write better. If you do the things you want to do, you will become better at them. And those are skills that you can do daily that do not tax your nervous system, compared to lifting heavy weights, sprinting fast times, or skating every day. So how does this fit into being a serious hockey player or being a hockey development investor? I think the serious hockey player always wants to be on the ice, and they easily achieve that. They always want to be in the gym, and they easily achieve that. They always want to explore every coaching method and program they can find, and they easily achieve that. I don't think it's difficult to be a serious hockey player, because at the end of the day, everyone who plays hockey is a serious hockey player. Just like how everyone is serious about their eating, their morning routines, their jobs, their daily doings in life, if you do it a lot, you are serious about it. End of story. The difference to make is that just because you do something a lot does not mean you're invested in it. Your morning cup of coffee may be routine. You don't invest your coffee in anything. Your next Spotify hit you listen to in your car may be something you always check on, but you don't invest that into anything. Your trip to Disneyland may give you happiness at the happiest place on earth, but you don't invest that into anything. Your new hockey stick or new piece of equipment may be something you always look for, but what are you investing that for? Investing means spending and sacrificing the now for specific future benefits and gain. But wait, are these not investments in their own ways? Yes, they could be. Entertainment, routine, and a sense of normality so you don't go crazy, having fun, getting attention, accessing higher status, etc. But notice how none of these are investments in hockey development, specifically. They have nothing to do with hockey development. What is a true investment in your hockey development? You put it in a proven, reputable, high quality, and careful coaching. You have a plan or a set of plans for your next 3 to 5 years. You change your lifestyle so that everything centers around your hockey training. You find the best training methods that include, but are not limited to, training less than 6 hours a day. Maybe you get an outside job so you can fund the investment. You are looking for a return on everything you spent just to make results happen in your hockey career. To give you guys some perspective, in this 3-year period, I looked at this, analyzed every coach that I was going to as well, every junior hockey team I played on, and just the total cost of both, maintaining equipment, which I know I said was not a true investment, but it's like, you got to find something to play. So it's like that, in this case, it does go a part of the cost. It is, okay, to make the quick distinction, if you're buying hockey sticks because it's a new shiny object, instead of just having it for use, I was buying it to have it for use so that I could play on my teams. So that's how I was looking at equipment specifically. When I talk about, in this article, looking at your hockey sticks as a new shiny object, that is different. You're not investing that into anything. you're buying hockey sticks because you need a hockey stick to play on your team that you invested in, that's an investment. So to give you the quick numbers that I came up with, my family in a 3-year period spent over $110,000 just for hockey training. All the mentors that I went to, all the coaches that I reached out with, all the teams that I played on, all the training course memberships that I signed up for, both for hockey specifically and for fixing my body. Because if your body's broken and you're trying to play professionally, well, you need something to fix your body. So it's like, that's part of the cost. That's part of the investment. That's why it's included in there. Our family spent over $110,000 in a 3-year period on my hockey development. And to get even deeper, I don't like to talk about this. At the time, that was actually my liquid net worth. So like, that's how much my parents spent on me. That's how much they invested into this. I didn't make it where I wanted to. I didn't make it where they wanted me to. They wanted me to make it to where I wanted to. I wanted to make professional hockey. And I still can. It's like, today I am capable of that. That's another topic for another time. I wanted to make the NHL. Maybe they needed to spend more. I don't know. I think that was like their limit. I could have gotten an outside job that paid me better than minimum wage, and I could have paid higher quality coaches instead of just spending 6 hours a day on the ice. I could have invested more into the coaching so that they'd pay more attention to me, so that I can get a better feedback loop on what I was working on. I could have done that. Instead, I wasted my fucking time being a serious hockey player. I was so serious about it that I fucking lost out on my potential. And to any coach who is preaching this, did you actually fucking think about it? It's like, if I don't think you're thinking about it this deep. Either because you don't know how to, or you actually don't know how to think about it. If you look at it from an investing point of view, this doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense to mindlessly grind. It doesn't make sense to just dig a hole with your hands when you have better tools around you, like a bulldozer. They just dig it for you. Like, why would you not let someone else hold your hand who knows how to, like, get to the higher levels? But no, I wanted to do it all myself because I was so serious. I was so dedicated to my training. I was so dedicated that I popped out my hip flexor. I worked so hard that I popped out my hip flexor and my groin. Oh, I can't play because my groin hurts. I can't skate as fast because my hips hurt. I want to play through the injury. It's like, and forfeit my future chances of actually making pro hockey. Like, what the fuck is this mindset? Are you serious? That doesn't... If that worked, I wouldn't be talking to you right now. And I really hope this resonates with any of you who had what they knew they could be and just had it ripped away from them by this mindless approach of just be a serious hockey player. You're going to make it if you're serious. You're going to make it all the way. In actuality, you're going to improve a little bit. If you do something relentlessly, you're going to improve at it. If you do it enough with enough reps, you're going to improve on it. Here's the thing. Does that put the odds more in your favor, or does going to someone who's knowledgeable put it more in your favor? Does looking up the science behind how training actually adapts your body, does that put you more in favor of making an adaptation or a change? Does that put the odds more in your favor, or does just mindlessly working on drills put the odds more in your favor? Does mindlessly working on drills and movements put the odds more in your favor? Or does researching and studying the best players, what they do strategically, what their standards are in their movements, how strong they are in their, movements and things like that, how strong they are in the gym, like what they work on specifically in the gym. Maybe not even them. What makes a fucking athlete? What makes a fucking athlete stronger? There's a reason I go to ATG instead of any hockey-specific training coach, because they've unlocked athleticism. I don't care that Ben Patrick is a basketball player. I don't care that Ben Clairfield hates hockey and still lives in Toronto. I go to them because they know something about athleticism and making people's bodies function and making athletes, creating athletes. This includes hockey player. Enough of the hockey-specific bullshit. That doesn't work because I did that and it didn't get me there. I'm so happy that I'm talking about this, actually, because I needed something like this I needed a topic like this to communicate to all of you that what exactly I'm frustrated on. I wanted to make the NHL. I listened to as many things that I could, both from all the coaches who taught me stuff and things. I'm not trying to be rude. I just don't. They taught me like the ways of hockey as best as they could. Then I went to online. They taught me hockey the best ways that the online people could. It didn't work. At the end of the day, it didn't work for me. I don't think it's working for that many people too, because it's like, what's their rate of coaching players to the NHL? As far as I can tell, it's not very high. And that's not a good percentage. I also like this topic because I can better relate to any of you who just like to grind away. I was in your shoes. I was serious about playing hockey. Now I'm not. I don't think that works. I tried that. When I invested in my training and development, that's when I started to see results. When I mentored one-on-one with Jason Yee at Train 2.0, that's when I started to see results. Because that was the start of my investing. Did that get me to the NHL specifically? No. But did that accelerate my growth compared to the coaching I had before? Absolutely. It wasn't until I put down hundreds of dollars and my family put down tens of thousands of dollars into my training, into my hockey development, that I started to see results. Now I want to make it so that all of their hockey families or all of their hockey players don't have to invest nearly as much as I did in a 3-year period. You won't have to pay a tenth. I don't want you to pay a tenth of what I paid in a 3-year period or what my family paid in a 3-year period. And that's why I've created the Hockey Hack system, is to solve this exact problem, that too many hockey players are too serious about hockey. And yes, you can be too serious about it, like I just said. What happens when you train so hard that your performance drops because your recovery sucks? What happens when you can't pay for your training you want because you're too stuck on training 10 hours each day? What will happen with your family and with your team when you're so obsessed with hockey that you ignore the investing foundations that allow you to train and play for your team? I have done the 6 hours a day training. I have hurt my hips because of that. And I lost potentially 2 to 3 years of development I could have had to use that to turn professionally had I invested in smart training. I have been on teams where the players don't invest into the team. What happened to those teams? They folded because the serious hockey players invested no money and attention to the state of their team. We're changing the narrative. It matters what you train, not how hard you train. This is what it means to be truly invested into your hockey training. And the Hockey Hack system is your test to see if you are an investor of your development or not. If this is you, don't sign up, because I support your career for the long term. I don't just do these one-off camps and then say goodbye. I am with you every single step of the way to make this happen for you, because this is the support I wish I had when I was 12 years old and had the dream to make the National Hockey League. I could have made the NHL with this Hockey Hack system. If you are a hockey investor, go sign up for the Hockey Hack system. I want to thank you for listening, and I will see you next time.